Hey guys, I'm back. Jen, I see you here. Dean, what's up? What's good? Question mark joined. I appreciate it. Dogman. All right. Thank you guys. My apologies. This is the reason why you need to charge your iPad, right? So Jen, thank you so much for being on part of the live today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. By the way, guys, quick shout out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for coming back into the live. I should have just charged my iPad last night, but I forgot to plug it in. I was so tired. My apologies. But moving on, I talk about this every now and then, but in the meantime that everybody's coming back, do you guys, there's like 20 of you guys in here at the moment. Do you guys want me to give you a quick shopping hack? I talked about it over the last couple of days. Let me know in the comments. Team Juicy Tab, what's good? Luke, I see you. If you guys want me to give you a little quick shopping hack in regards of how to get a discount whenever somebody says, hey, do you want to apply for the credit card? You know, that way you can get like a 10, 20, 25% discount. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of department stores that will actually give you the discount just for applying, right? So this actually happened to me. I like shopping at Express. So whenever I'm going to go and get, go to a wedding or something, I want to buy myself a nice shirt, I'll go to Express, right? That's my store to go to. So I actually bought all my clothing there for this past summer, and I was gonna spend like about $500 like in total for the entire season. I'm like, okay, all this clothes should last me a good 8 months. So then when I got to the register, they were like, hey, do you want to apply for the Express credit card? You'll get a 25% discount. And I'm like, shit, heck yeah. It's about $500 worth of clothing. So I do want to get a 25% discount, right? They're like, we'll give it to you regardless whether you actually get approved or declined. I'm like, heck yeah, but here's my only caveat. I use my Navy Federal Flagship Rewards card for everything because it actually gives me way more rewards than any other credit card at the moment that I have. And when I looked at the pamphlet that Express had for rewards and stuff like that, I'm like, this is trash compared to what I can get with my Navy Federal card, right? So what I did, and what you guys can do too, is you can actually Google Experian security freeze, Transunion security freeze, and Equifax security freeze. So it literally took me about 1 minute or less to put a security freeze in all of my 3 credit bureaus. And then from there, I applied. Whenever you're doing a security freeze on your credit reports, you're actually preventing any hard inquiry from coming in. So if somebody actually applied, and whether it was you or someone under your name tried to take your identity, that hard inquiry would not go through. That bank or lender that somebody applied with would not be able to obtain a copy of your credit report because your security freeze is placed on there, okay? So I'm like, okay, well, these guys are actually going to give me that 25% discount. Let me freeze my credit bureaus. Once I did that, it took me about 3 minutes in total. I went and I applied, and then they were like, okay, well, you got declined, right? They don't tell you that you got declined. There's like a little receipt. They're like, okay, you can call this number in regards to this, right? So then from there, I actually, not only did I get my 25% discount, but I also earned all the rewards I could with my own credit card. Does this make sense, guys? If it makes sense, let me know in the comments, please. And this is not a hack. This is not a trick. You can literally do this. This is just you utilizing the system. Cool. Awesome. I work at a dealership, and the highest score, let me see. Oh, man. I work at a dealership, and the highest score I ever seen was a 898, and the guy was old. Well, here's the thing, man. 898 does not actually come from FICO. I used to work at a dealership too, but I used to work at a used auto dealership, and there was really bad credit scores right there. But 898, the maximum for FICO is 850. So you guys were probably using some type of different scoring model, like a Vantage score. I believe Vantage actually goes to 950. I don't use Vantage. Nobody really uses Vantage, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure exactly what you were looking at, but I could tell you right off the bat, it wasn't FICO. FICO only goes up to 850. But yeah, thanks for contributing in that. Can you talk about disputing and how to use them to our advantage? Disputes, right? So there's multiple ways. If you guys are trying to clean up your credit report, there's multiple ways on how you can dispute accounts off to get them completely removed from your credit report. You could either write a letter to the creditor, to the debt collector, to the credit bureau to dispute it. You can go online, like on Credit Karma. You can go to different apps, the Experian app, and dispute something offline. However, you don't want to do this because of the fact that if you're disputing online, if you have factual errors that are actually affecting your credit, then you want to make sure you understand that you are waiving your right as a consumer to take those credit bureaus to court if they're actually messing with your credit. Okay? Fraud on your account, how can you delete that? I cannot help you with fraud, but the best thing you can do is place a security freeze on your credit reports, file a police report, and put, hey, David, I appreciate you. Thank you. File an identity theft affidavit, file a police report with those accounts that are under fraud, send copies of all those documents along with a letter to the credit bureaus that are reporting those accounts saying, hey, these accounts are actually fraud, here's all my documentation. And then from there, they should remove it within a 5 business day period. If they don't, then you contact a consumer attorney, because now they're in violation of the FCRA and you might have a possible claim in your hands. However, I cannot help you with that. I found that a lot of people will actually try to lie to try to get collections deleted. I don't want to be associated with that. I try to do everything by the book. So I no longer help clients with actual fraud or identity theft. Is Credit Karma accurate? Let's talk about Credit Karma real quick. Do me a favor, guys. If you think Credit Karma is not accurate, if you guys think that the score you're seeing from Credit Karma is not accurate, let me know in the comments. Hey, Karina, I see you. Thank you so much. This actually fits credit-wise as well. So, Kimmy, you wanted my opinion on credit-wise. All right, people are saying it's not accurate. It's somewhat accurate, not close. So here's the thing, okay? Accurate compared to what? That's the very first thing that we should be asking ourselves. Well, is Credit Karma accurate compared to what? Or what are we talking about here, right? So the thing about Credit Karma is, first of all, you have to understand there's 3 different credit reporting agencies within the US. There's Experian, there's Transunion, and there's Equifax. I appreciate you, David. Thank you so much. So somebody's saying, just say yes or no. The answer is yes, it's 1,000% accurate. Yeah. So before you guys get crazy and lynch me here, let me explain the reason why it's accurate. Interestingly enough, Credit Karma gives you a Vantage score. I appreciate you, Kristen. Thank you so much. Credit Karma gives you a Vantage score 3.0. The interesting part about credit scores is that no bank or lender actually uses a Vantage score to check your credit worthiness. You guys have heard of credit scores? David, I appreciate it. Thank you. You guys have heard of credit scores? You guys have heard of FICO scores. Well, what the hell is the difference? When people say credit scores, it's generalizing everything, kind of like Vantage and FICO. When people say FICO scores, they're talking about a very specific scoring model. Now, FICO scores have become the industry standard whenever they're checking for credit worthiness, whenever you're applying. So ironically, both Vantage scores and FICO scores are made by getting data directly from your credit report. So yes, the score you're seeing from Credit Karma is 1,000% accurate. It is your Vantage score, but it's a score that no one will ever check to check your credit worthiness. So obviously, a lot of people don't have that context, so it's easier for them to say Credit Karma is not accurate. This actually happened to me. So I went down about 8 or 9 months to the Kia dealership. I needed to buy a brand new a new vehicle, family car. We used to have a 2013 Nissan Pathfinder. We're like, you know what? We need something a little bit nicer, because when you live in the Palm Springs area and you have little kids and then your AC unit is not working right, that's terrible. That's like living in hell, right? During the summer with no AC. So we went to the Kia dealership. Obviously, for those of you guys that sell cars for a living that are on here, you already know the first thing you want to do is get people into financing. You don't want to spend your time on somebody that's just going to be kicking tires, right? Marsha, I appreciate you. Thank you. So from there, the guy was like, well, let's get into financing. I was like, oh, no, I came pre-approved already from Navy Federal. So I was just like, oh, no, I'm okay with credit right now. I'm good. And the guy's like, just let you know, Credit Karma is not accurate. I'm like, dude, don't talk to me about Credit Karma and accuracy and credit. Like, you have no clue what you're talking about. Yeah. So yeah, tell us about the Snowball method. Absolutely, yeah. So, but to sum up, before I move on to the Snowball method, definitely this is one of those things that you have to understand. Credit Karma is 1,000% accurate. They're just showing you a scoring model that no one uses whenever you're applying for credit. Okay. Now you guys know a more reliable thing to actually look for your credit score is going to be the Experian app. This is a free app, and you'll get your FICO 8 directly from Experian. Now, if you wanted to get fancy, you can look into this app right behind me. This is called My FICO. This is actually going to give you all of your different FICO scores, but it comes at a hefty price of $40 per month. In my opinion, it's not worth it. You don't need it. So save yourself the $40, spend it on a date night with your wife, with your husband, whatever it might be. So yeah, but that's just my 2 cents on that. So let's talk about snowball debt effect. How many of you guys have debt on your credit? Well, just debt in general, and you feel like you're draining in it and you can't get out and you don't know exactly what to do? Let me know. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor and I can't give you that type of advice. This is just correlation, or this is just me giving you one of the ways that I was able to get out of debt. I went into bankruptcy. I was in debt $113,000. I declared Chapter 7 bankruptcy. You would think, oh, after declaring bankruptcy and after going through some type of financial education, you would know what to do. No, I still got into that after my bankruptcy, but there are some books that actually helped me get out of debt, okay? So one of them is going to be Dave Ramsey. By the way, Dave Ramsey is like totally against credit. That's okay. I took the best out of his books and knowledge and then applied it to my life. So he does have something in there that's called the debt snowball effect. For those of you guys that don't know, let me go get my credit cards. Well, you know what? I have some old credit cards here. Let me give you guys some perspective, okay? So, okay, perfect. These are credit cards that I no longer use, but all right. So let's say you guys have 4 credit cards, right? You guys have these 4 credit cards right here. So what you want to do is you want to make your minimum payment on each credit card, and then on the smallest balance credit card, then you would do anything extra that you could. If you started a side hustle or anything like that, on the smallest balance credit card, you would pay everything extra that you could on that card. Once you knock that one down, you move on to the other ones. And on the smallest one that you do, you would pay whatever you were paying on that small credit card that you finished paying off, you would pay it on the next small credit card, okay? So on and so forth. So eventually what you're doing is you're creating a snowball effect, if you will, okay? So this is called the debt snowball effect, and you guys can Google it. It comes directly from a book called Financial Peace and Financial, what is the other one called? Financial Peace and Financial University, or Total Money Makeover. That's the one that I have, Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. All right, what's a good secure card? A good secure card would be the Discover Secure credit card. I love that credit card. That's probably my favorite secure credit card. It will help you rebuild your credit while you're earning cashback rewards. There's a lot of because when I was building my credit, again, I have some credit cards here. When I was rebuilding my credit after my bankruptcy, I did get some secure credit cards that are trash, man. And I'll tell you which ones I don't like. The Home Depot one was awesome, but it's limited to Home Depot. But this is probably one of the credit cards that I hate the most. Credit One. This is a credit building card, but it offers you absolutely no rewards whatsoever. Okay? So definitely it's one of those things that you guys, there's better credit cards out there. In my opinion, this is kind of like your last resort. Credit One, Open Sky, stuff like that. I really don't like them. But yeah. Don't be scared, show the number. I know, huh? You guys are gonna go shopping and dining on my dime. Yeah. Please tell me how the fuck I gain credit bureaus because I apply for credit cards and they don't accept me. So here's the thing. You might be applying at the wrong place. You might be applying for credit cards where your credit file is not exactly showing them what they want to see. Okay? So for starters, like I said, to rebuild your credit, I've had these conversations with my clients where they're like, hey, Ricardo, I need to build credit, right? And I'm like, okay, what should you do to rebuild your credit? This is one of the cards that you want to look into, okay? You can actually see if you're pre-approved for this Discover Secure credit card. If you're not a big deal. I'm going to give you a different account that's actually created for you to start rebuilding your credit. This is another account. For those of you guys that have Self, do me a favor, let me know what your experience is with Self so far. I personally love this account. It helped me a lot when it came to rebuilding my credit. I probably got about 40 to 60 point increase just for having this account. So for those of you guys, so yeah, people are saying I love Self. Self is awesome. For those of you guys that are not getting approved anywhere, Self is gonna be your to-go-to at the moment, okay? It's an app, you can look for it. It's called Self. So it's actually a secure loan that will help you build credit. It will build positive payment history on a month-to-month basis. After about having the account for 90 days, they'll extend an offer for a secure credit card. So it's kind of like 2 accounts for the price of 1. You'll be able to see as you're going through signing up if it's actually convenient for you. But definitely, this is one of the things that you can do if nobody is approving you. And I've had these client conversations every now and then where they're like, okay, you need to rebuild your credit. Here are some places you can apply for. And it's like, they don't listen to me, and then they'll go somewhere else. They'll go to Best Buy, they'll go to Costco, right? They'll go to American Express. And I'm like, no, dude, you got to work your way. Think about credit rebuilding kind of like building muscle, right? You can't go and bench press 300 pounds. Like, you actually have to work your way to get there, right? In the same way, you can't get those higher end perks, rewards without actually putting in the work, right? So definitely. Great question, by the way. And quick shout out to Jalisa, Mark, Claudia, Miranda, Lisbeth, Julian, Karen, Joel, Victor, Cheer, Bracy, and Leanne. Guys, thank you guys so much for booking those one-on-one consultations. Fred, I appreciate you. Thank you. For those of you guys that are wondering if my team and I can assist you in your credit repair journey, do me a favor, book a one-on-one free 15-minute discovery call. Brian, I just saw you pop in my calendar. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. The link is on my TikTok page, guys. So if you want to book that free call, if you click on my picture up here, click on it once it comes up again, it'll take you to my TikTok page where you can click the link right here and schedule that one-on-one consultation. All right. What about Credit Strong? So I've actually looked into Credit Strong and Kickoff. I did not like them. The reason why I did not like Kickoff and Credit Strong is I felt like it was too expensive for people. When I looked at their fees, I'm like, I don't think that this is actually going to help a lot of people. And if it does, it's going to come at a higher price. And that's the reason why I don't recommend them. I'm not saying they're bad products. I just feel like they're a little too expensive. Anything that I'll ever recommend to you guys is because I've actually tried it myself. Okay? So yeah. All right. Can a repo be removed? Yes. So look, if you have a repossession on your credit report, this is what I would advise you to do, okay? Every time somebody gets a repossession, obviously they're going to be billed with a final bill from the bank or the lender, right? The car gets repossessed. The bank is not going to keep the car. They're going to sell that car at an auto auction. And then from there, they're actually going to bill you for the remainder of the loan. So if you owe them $10,000 and then they sell the car for $4,000, they'll bill you for $6,000, right? What you have to do is compare apples to apples. You have to compare your credit report's balance on that specific account to the final bill. Why? Because often banks and lenders will actually forget or update that balance inaccurately. And if you have a final bill containing an factual error versus what the credit report says, you would write, if I were you, I would write a letter stating, please delete account for inaccurate balance being reported. See attached documentation. You would send a copy of that final bill to the credit bureaus along with that dispute letter. And then you hope and pray that two things happen. One, either they tell you it's been deleted because of the inaccuracy, or two, it's been verified as accurate. And if they actually verified it as accurately, which obviously they didn't do their job, at that point, you would actually contact a consumer attorney because you might have a possible FCRA claim on your hands. The bank canceled your credit card and you have to reapply for a new one. Will it affect your credit? Absolutely. Both sides will affect your credit. The fact that the credit card was closed and also you applying for a new credit. But you have to think about it this way, okay? If you're going to apply for a new credit card, that's going to be your building block. That's going to be your foundation. Again, reestablishing it similar to when you first applied for that credit card that's now closed. So even though it's going to affect your credit score temporarily, you have to understand that this is going to be your foundation. They closed it for two reasons. Either you stopped paying or they considered you a higher risk and they were like, you know what? We're going to close out Ricardo's credit card and because we don't want to take the risk, right? So that's the reasons why an account would be closed. What do you think about Lexington Law? Well, Lexington Law is a credit repair company. I'm not going to sit here and talk bad about anybody. That's just not my style. I don't know the way that they actually work. I do have a lot of clients that come over from Lexington Law into my credit repair services because they want more of a boutique style. They don't want to feel something like I'm just another number, right? In a big industry. So at the end of the day, there's pros and cons, I would say. But the biggest suggestion that I can give you is you don't have to go with me. You have to go with whoever makes you feel comfortable and confident. Because There's nothing cool or fun about going through the credit repair process. It's a painful, tedious situation. You never want to pay somebody to fix financial mistakes from the past that are going to affect in the next 7 years, right? So if they make you feel comfortable, by all means, sign up with them. And if not, you'll have to constantly look for somebody that's going to actually make you feel comfortable. They're going to explain the process thoroughly for you, because it's not fun, right? So, I mean, I went through credit repair myself, so I know firsthand how it feels to be a client that's kept out of the loop. So what's a good way to start building business credit for beginners? You know what? I don't really know anything about business credit, my friend. All of my efforts are actually within the consumer side. So yeah. What if we transfer a credit card to another one? So if you're doing a balance transfer, that's fine as long as there's no balance transfer fee, or even if there is, you know, you want to make sure they're going to offer you some type of 0% interest or something like that. It has to make financial sense for me. But I'm not the type of person that will keep balances on my credit cards. Even if I have a credit card of like a $500 credit limit, I mean, I still have my starter credit cards. One of my starter credit cards has $200 credit limit. I don't use it anymore, but I always follow the same principles when it comes to rebuilding. Where am I located? I'm located in the Palm Springs area, my friend, in Southern California. But if you wanted my team and I to assist you, we can assist you throughout the U.S. with the exception of Georgia. But you can still book a one-on-one consultation if you're interested. The link is on my TikTok page. It's a free discovery call to see if our services are right for you. Student loans. Yeah, let's talk about student loans real quick. So if you guys have student loans, if you have federally backed up student loans that are affecting your credit, this is what you have to understand. A student loan that's federally backed up does not expire. Even if you successfully get it deleted from your credit, they will come after you. They will take your tax returns, garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts. So you have two different options. Now, the two different options actually apply to private student loans as well. But the federal student loan debt does not expire. So the options are going to be, you have to look for a student loan debt forgiveness program. They are real. They are out there. As to how they work, I have no clue. But every now and then I will have a viewer that actually went through that. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, they actually exist, right? So, and if you cannot qualify for that, then you would have to call your loan administrator and ask them to place you in a payment rehab program. Why? Because when you are repaying back, that's going to take your student loan out of default, and it's no longer going to affect your credit report in a negative way. Now, some of my clients have actually done that, and they pay as little as $5 a month on their student loans when they're placed in that rehab program, which is great. Okay, so yeah. Hardship program. Okay, there you go. They call them hardship program. I know them as rehab programs, but yeah. Can you get rid of old late vehicle payment? You could actually challenge the late payment. In my opinion, the older the late payment is, the more success you're gonna have, because the credit bureaus are more lenient towards actually getting that done. But yeah. What are your thoughts on Chime? I do not like Chime credit card, unfortunately. There's a lot of people that rely on it and use it. That's great. I never used it myself, but I had 2 clients that actually got their credit score dropped because Chime made a mistake on their utilization. So I do not like Chime because of that. But yeah. Hi, Those Freedom Department works. Okay, well, there you go. Camilo Alvarado, you're saying that those programs actually work, right? The student forgiveness programs. Can you remove hard inquiries? Yes, hard inquiries can actually be removed. I was added in a credit card by someone and then they removed me. Will that hurt my credit? Absolutely. So if you become an authorized user on somebody's credit card, and then they're gonna, and if your credit score went up, when they remove you within about a 30 to 45 day period, that credit card is going to disappear from your credit file, bringing your credit score down to wherever it was before you were even added on that credit card. Student forgiveness programs, right? So student debt forgiveness programs, that's something you can look into. I don't know how that works because I don't do student debt forgiveness. I do credit repair. How many credit cards will help my credit instead of hurt it? Well, that's the thing. Like, no one can give you that answer. That's a great question. So think about it this way, okay? When you first start, like when I would first start my credit, if I had to start over again, I would start with at least 2 credit cards at the very least, right? So make sure my payment history is on time, my utilization is on time. In about 9 months to 1 year, I would try to add 2 more credit cards in there, okay? And then so on and so forth. Ironically enough, every time I always give this silly analogy. Think about credit building, kind of like building muscle, because as you work your way up to more weight, it is going to affect your muscle. You are still going to be sore, right? When you're working your way towards higher credit cards, oh, this is actually a debit card. When you work your way towards higher credit cards, then you have to understand that because you're adding a brand new hard inquiry, and if you get approved for that credit card, you're adding a brand new account, which is going to lower your average credit age. Your credit score is actually going to go down. But now you have a higher end or a higher per credit card, which over the course of time, as long as you manage that credit card correctly with excellent payment history and low utilization, your credit score is going to continuously go up, just like muscle mass, right? I hope that silly analogy makes sense. That was a really great question. But that's kind of like how credit cards actually work. Credit score is BS, pay cash. Cash is trash. Cash does not actually stand for anything. Now, if you actually feel like, you know what, cash is my world, then by all means, more power to you, my friend. How do you actually remove inquiries and an old late payment? Gotcha. Okay. Let me give you a hard inquiry letter that you can use to help you. Well, here, let me give you a late payment letter first. There you go. By the way, quick shout out to Marla, Ariana. I just saw you come through my calendar. Abigail, Nazali, Olivia, and Brenda, Sierra, Casey, and Claudia. Thank you guys so much for booking those consultations, guys. For those of you guys that are wondering if my credit repair services are actually right for you, you can always book a free 15-minute discovery call. We'll go over your credit report together. We'll explain what credit repair is, and if it makes sense for you to jump into my credit repair program, then we'll go from there. So if you guys click on my picture up here, click on it once it comes up again, you'll still be able to listen to the live. And then from there, you can click the link right here on my bio to schedule that call. Let me get to that hard inquiry letter, okay? So the hard inquiry letter is right. It's right here. Go ahead and screenshot it. Do me a favor, guys. Type in done in the comments whenever you guys are done screenshotting the letter. That way I can move on. Henry, I just saw you coming through my calendar, my friend. I appreciate you. Let me see. Lizbeth, thank you so much. Let me see. You left me a note here. I filed a dispute for collections that is not mine, and now my credit is low. It used to be at the 800. Gotcha. Look, if you have something on your credit report that's not yours, if you have fraud, I cannot help you with fraud, unfortunately. But definitely I can point you to the right direction, okay? So thank you for booking that consultation. If you don't have anything else negative on your credit file, aside from that, I don't think it's necessarily for you to actually jump on my credit repair services, but we'll still gladly take that call. Awesome. All right, guys, let me see here. Tips on buying your first home. Well, I'm not a loan officer, but one thing I can tell you for sure is everybody's gonna look at your utilization, right? No matter what. So whenever you're applying for a home or for a home loan, they're going to pull a copy of your credit report, all three of them. Now, from different loan officers, I've heard there's something called tri-scoring. So tri-scoring is basically when they take your lowest credit score and eliminate it, your highest credit score and eliminate it, and then from there they'll keep your middle score to actually base the interest ratio that you're gonna fall under. But definitely to prepare for a home, you make sure that you wanna have all of your credit cards paid to a very low balance, because not only is that gonna bring your credit score up, but it's always gonna show your debt ratio to be very low, which is gonna be really good. But then again, I'm not a loan officer, so I have very limited information as to what is the perfect credit file for a home loan. What is self? Can you elaborate on it more? Yeah, so we talked about self earlier. So self is just basically a secure loan that's gonna help you add positive payment history on your credit report. So it's an app, and then you'll see once you download the app and go through everything, you'll be able to see how they work, how they actually report on your credit file, and how much their fees are and stuff like that. My credit score dropped to 576. I've had the same credit card through BOA for 2 years. What should I do? Well, the first thing I should do, if I would do if I were you, is I would look at my credit file and I would be like, okay, why did my credit score drop, right? So if you actually had a charge off or something like that, then it makes sense that score dropped, right? You would want to work on credit repair. That way you can get that charge off deleted from your credit file. But also you have to take in consideration that if you only have one credit card and you're trying to build your credit to something higher, you might have to get a couple more at least under your credit file. Now, credit is a lifelong journey. You can't expect your credit score to go up fast. Like, and this is what I tell my clients every time. Like, every phone call that we make for consultations when they want to jump into our credit repair services, I'll tell them, okay, there's Amazon 2-day shipping, and then all the way on the other side of the spectrum is credit repair. They don't mix, they don't match. Credit repair is a slow and painful process, unfortunately. And if somebody's telling you like, oh, I can fix your credit quick, fast, that's a major red flag. They're after your money. But that's just the 2 cents aside from what you were asking. Yeah. I'm starting my credit from zero. Any tips? I would suggest getting 2 to 3 major credit cards and working on your utilization, making sure that you're making your payments on time, but also you are actually closing your credit card statements with very low balances. Okay. Should I get rid of a credit card that does not go up and does not have any benefits? Well, what I would do if I were you is I would put that credit card away in a drawer, because if you actually close it out, it's going to hurt your credit. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. I would actually just simply put it away in a drawer and make sure it's set up on auto pay, because look, obviously I don't use my starter credit cards anymore, right? So I actually put it away in a drawer and I forgot to set it up on auto pay, and my credit score went down because they actually billed me $100 or something like that for the yearly fee, and I totally forgot about it. I don't ever check the mail, unfortunately. And then from there, I'm like, what the hell? Why did my credit score drop 100 points? You know, like going from the 800 to the 700, this could be scary. And then I'm like, when I looked at my credit report, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to make this payment. Or I forgot to set this up on auto pay. But luckily, this is actually a credit card company that I now work with. It's called it's not called Self. It's called Credit Builder Card, and I actually recommend it to my clients. So I know how it works. Again, guys, I'm always going to test every product that I recommend to you guys. So I know that they actually can help you reverse the late payment. So I called them. I was like, hey, man, you know what, guys? I totally forgot about this. They're like, yeah, no problem. You know, just send this documentation in, and you'll be good to go. And then, came back right up. But anyways, yeah, it's one of those things that I'll suggest. If you're going to put cards away in a drawer, make sure that you set them up on auto pay. Does it matter when renting? Does what matter exactly? A car dealership did 3 hard inquiries without asking my permission. How can I get those removed? Well, first of all, if it was without your permission, which I doubt. Honestly, sometimes they'll make you sign things and you don't even know what you're signing. But let's say that it was actually away from your permission. Then I would send a letter to the credit bureau saying, hey, this was an unauthorized hard inquiry, right? Now, most people honestly send that same letter saying this hard inquiry has been unauthorized. You might want to approach it in a different way. Like, for example, you want to send a letter that might look similar to this, right? This is a hard inquiry challenge letter. You're not disputing the hard inquiry. You're actually challenging the credit bureaus to come up with documentation to prove that hard inquiry actually belongs to you. And if not, you're asking in a nice way to remove the unverifiable hard inquiry from your credit report. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. All right. When can I ask for a credit limit increase? I would suggest waiting at least 8 months. So every 8 months, you can ask for a credit limit increase if they don't just give it to you naturally. But you have to understand that when it comes to credit limit increases, you're not just going to get the increase by just having a balance and just making your payments on time. You want to be the exceptional client, right? So you want to be that example client for everybody. Like, you keep your utilization low, you use your credit card, you make your payments on time and everything, and you're definitely not going to apply for every single place. Why? Because those show major red flags. Now, when you're doing a credit limit increase, some banks will actually run your credit one more time, and that's going to cause a hard inquiry in your credit file. I usually don't request hard inquiries with those banks that are going to do that, but sometimes they'll just do a soft inquiry, which is fine with me. Okay. All right. I've sent inquiry removal attached to an open account. They close the account? So they can, but I've only seen this happen with like 2 banks. One of them being Community Bank, and I think Credit One was the other. Most of the time they won't do that. Like, look, guys, honestly, whenever a client comes into my credit repair services, I hardly ever work on their hard inquiries, because trust me when I say this, the issue is not your hard inquiries. Unless you have like over 20 hard inquiries. At that point, I'm like, dude, you got to stop applying. But most of the time, like 99% of my clients, their issues are never hard inquiries. Their issues are the way that they're utilizing their credit cards and collections or charge-offs and late payments and repos. But I could tell you, like, your credit score is not going to improve by deletion of hard inquiries. So let me explain to you how hard inquiries actually affect your credit. So hard inquiries count only for 10% of your score, right? So they're only visible on your credit report for 2 years. But after 1 year, they stop affecting your FICO score. So you can have 50 hard inquiries in your credit file, but if they're 13 months old, they're no longer affecting your credit score. So it's like the last thing that I even concentrate on. And people come into my credit repair program because they want hard inquiries removed. I'm like, dude, you got a bigger problem. Hard inquiries are gonna be the least of your worries. Like, look at the way you're utilizing your credit cards. Look at all these collections accounts, right? They're like, oh yeah, but I want to delete the hard inquiry. I'm like, the hard inquiry is not what's gonna get you approved for the house. The hard inquiry is not gonna get you approved for the apartment that you want. It's gonna be removing these things and conducting positive payment history and very low utilization on your credit cards. Dude, you gotta stop applying, man. Yeah, absolutely. What is the first credit card you recommend for someone just starting out? I would recommend the Discover Secure credit card. I love the Discover Secure credit card because it gives you cashback rewards. And it's I love Discover. There's a lot of people that complain about Discover, but I found it to be the total opposite. I like it a lot. I highly advise not get a credit card. I highly advise the total opposite. What's the best credit card to start building credit? Again, it's very opinionated. There's people that love Capital One. You can go for like a Capital One Quicksilver. I have a Capital One Quicksilver, but I don't use it. I don't like Capital One. I don't know. It's just a personal preference. I love Discover, honestly. Maybe it's just because of the fact that I used Discover so much when I first started my credit journey again. So, should you always pay credit cards off, or should you leave a small balance? Well, look, at the end of the day, what really matters is to make sure that you're closing your credit card statement cycle with a very low balance, preferably below 6%. Now, according to FICO, let me see if I can find this real quick, and I'll show it to you guys. But according to FICO will award a higher credit score if you leave a very small balance between 1% and 6% as opposed to paying it to zero. There's people that will argue against that, and there's people that will say, well, that's stupid. Why would you pay interest if you could just pay it off to zero? And I'm like, dude, like, for example, look, I'll give you this example here for one of my credit card statements. So this credit card statement has a limit of 25 G's, and I left a balance of $10. Now, I'm like, okay, I left a balance on there. I'm not worried about paying 25 or 50 cents in interest for the cost of a higher credit score based on utilization, right? And if that's the case, that's what you're worried about, then maybe credit is not for you. That's usually what I tell people. I'm not telling you that, but I'm just saying, but according to FICO, you will get a higher credit score if you leave a small balance opposed to paying it down to zero. But yeah, not according to me. So yeah. How fast does credit improve after your service? Austin, great question. So it brings me back to what I was saying earlier. I don't think that you were here. There's Amazon 2-day shipping, and then there's credit repair, and the total opposite of this spectrum. The two don't mix. They don't go hand on hand. Credit repair, it doesn't matter whether you go through me, Lexington Law, or any other credit repair agency that's out there. It's a slow, painful process. I don't like to sugarcoat it. I can just tell you right off the bat, anytime that somebody is going to join my credit repair service, I feel like I almost tell them, are you sure? Because of the fact that, hey, look, I want you to understand that I'm going to work along with you, but you need to understand that this is going to be a process. If you're coming to me 30 days later saying, hey, I don't see any improvement, we don't understand each other. I usually tell people, hey, this could be a 9 to 12 month process for my team and I to do everything I absolutely can on your credit report, right? So at the end of the day, I'm just trying to give you just, black and white information, man, and just trying to be as thorough and as transparent as possible. But it doesn't matter whether it's my service or Lexington Law or wherever you go with. I would just say, expect at least 3 to 4 months before you actually see something improve on your credit. I think that the fastest deletion I've ever gotten was a repo for $13,000, and we got that within a 7 business day period. But I'll never go around and advertise that because that doesn't happen often. And there's people that will actually go and advertise that because they're trying to hook you, right? get your credit fixed in as little as 30 days or 60 or 90 days. You will be disappointed if you sign up for those reasons. I saw an ad on Instagram. I haven't seen it in a while. It says get your credit fixed in as little as 24 hours. Let me tell you that I have a lot of people coming from that credit repair company pissed over to my services. They're like, yeah, this happened. I'm like, nah. Yeah. We have been trying to buy a house, but had to pay collection debts. But how soon does that go up? Okay, so who is that here? Christine. So Christine, just letting you know, I don't know if your loan officer told you to pay collections so your credit score can improve. That if this happened to you, that's the worst advice that they could have given you. When you pay off a collection or a charge off on your credit report, that does not translate into credit improvement 99% of the time. The only thing that changes when you're paying off collections is your actual balance will be brought down to zero when you finish paying it off. But it will not be removed from your credit report. And that's the only way that your credit could actually improve when it comes to that specific collection or that charge off that you're trying to pay. 99% of the time, the collection or the charge off will still remain on your credit report because of the fact that those negative items have a 7-year time clock from the original date of first delinquency, not from when you pay it, there's no such thing as let me pay it and it'll be deleted or it'll no longer affect because it's at a zero balance. The only way, the other 1% is if you actually have what's called a pay per delete agreement. This is when you and the creditor or that debt collector, I should say, because you're asking about collections, actually agreed that the debt collector is going to remove that account from the credit report once you bring the balance down to zero. It doesn't matter whether you paid it in full or you settle for less than the amount owed. If that agreement is placed in hand beforehand, then that's when your credit is actually going to improve. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there or anything like that, but yeah. I have 10 late payments. What can I do? Pandemic was rough for me. You can challenge those late payments on your credit file. So here is a letter to help you challenge those late payments, my friend. Okay, I got it. So would it be smart to get a credit card and increase the score? Well, the credit card itself is going to help you report positive payment history, but also make sure that you manage the credit card correctly with very low balances and stuff like that. So yeah. Dan, congrats. To what? To who? Let me see. Does paying off small collections help? No. Does closed accounts hurt you? If you close out your credit cards, they do help you. All right. Should I build my net worth through credit cards? I mean, here's the thing. You're not going to build a net worth through credit cards. I mean, somebody can have $500,000 in available credit, and that's not their net worth. That's just their available credit. The way that you build your net worth is by leveraging debt. So silly examples or very common examples is people buying property, right? And then turning those into rentals. Now, those are bigger projects, but you don't have to start with something that big. You can do something as little as buying a vehicle that you can, with your credit, that you can actually put in those websites like Turo or ride sharing, basically, right? Not ride sharing like in the terms of Uber and Lyft, but where you rent out vehicles, because what's happening is you now have an asset. You use debt, right? You use somebody else's money to buy that vehicle, but if you're renting that vehicle out, and not only is it paying all of the fees on a month-to-month basis of your insurance, but also the auto loan payment, then at that point you're turning that into profit. And then if you learn how to do that one time successfully, and then you actually learn how to do that one time successfully, and you're like, okay, how can I do that times 2? So then you do that twice. Okay, how can I do that times 2? So now you're doing it 4 times. How can I do that times 2? Now you're doing it 8 times. That's where scaling happens. So damn, I should do a business consulting course or something, man. But yeah, I hope that makes sense, guys. Rent a car out and get around. Yep. What about judgments? So the thing about judgments is that I never work with a judgment, so I wouldn't be able to help you. But usually you'll get a judgment whenever they try to take you to court, whether they won or then you didn't show up. They won by default. Now they have the right to actually take your tax returns, garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts for that judgment. So if I were you, that's beyond credit repair. Credit repair has the ability to remove negative items from your credit report, but that doesn't mean that debt is automatically forgiven. It's two completely separate things. So what I would do if I were you is I would contact whoever that judgment, whoever's holding that judgment, and try to do some type of payment arrangement so you don't get surprised by your bank accounts being levied or anything like that. So yeah. Can I refinance a car with bad credit? I would recommend getting better credit than what you had before you actually refinance the car, because you're going to be considered a higher risk. And let's say if you had a 625 when you bought the car and you're still at a 625 or even lower, they're not going to refinance. And if they do, it's not going to be a better rate for you. Yeah. Do you know how I can get out of a co-signer car loan if the other signer refinances the loan just under their name? Why is Credit Karma showing me different score than Experian and Equifax? Which is accurate? So, well, first of all, that's a great question. Let's explore this. So Credit Karma is going to give you two different scores, okay? TransUnion's credit score and Equifax's credit score. Experian app is only going to show you the Experian credit score. So that's already one thing. That's already one difference. Now, if you're looking at the credit score from Experian, and if you purchase a subscription with Experian, it's going to give you Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. However, Experian is showing you a FICO scoring model. Credit Karma is showing you scores calculated using Vantage Score 3.0. There are two different types of scoring systems. So even if you got your credit scores from the Experian app, from TransUnion and Equifax, and you try to compare it to TransUnion and Equifax's from Credit Karma, they're always going to be different because they're different scoring models. Okay. All right. Can you show delete upon payment letter? Paper delete. So I don't have a letter. This is something you actually do over the phone. If you actually call your debt collector and say, hey, look, man, I know all you guys $1,000. I'm ready to settle. Like, I just want to get this done. I actually have a really good friend that's a collections manager. He's been a collections manager for over 30 years. And he told me straight up, like, Ricardo, like, you have to tell people that we're not bad guys. We make a living off of collection, sure. But most people, when they call, they're rude and they're jerks. So if I have a person on the phone call that's rude and jerk to me, I'm not going to do my best to try to help them out. So we have to understand that it's another human being on the phone call. Yes, sometimes they could be aggressive, but you just got to talk to them like, hey, look, you know what? I owe you guys. I want to settle. I know you guys are looking to make some money. I'm looking to square out my debts, but here are my terms. When you place it on top of the table like that, where you're willing to actually work along with them, it changes the spectrum for them. It changes the spectrum for you. At that point, they're leaning towards listening to you. The debt collector that's bringing in the money from you is going to get a cut out of that. So absolutely, they want to work with you. They want to talk to nice people, but everybody's a jerk whenever they're on the phone, right? So, and then they did tell me, hey, look, all you have to do is just tell us, look, I'm trying to buy a home. Well, before you do this, you settle on a price, okay? I know all you guys $8,000. I can settle for $3,000. And I'm ready to go right now, right? I know all you guys $1,000. I can settle for $200, and I'm ready to pay that right now, right? Oh no, we can only take $800. Look, honestly, the most I can do is $400 and give it to you right now. I can literally give it to you right now. Well, let me check with my manager. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Okay, I'm gonna pay this up, but I want you to delete this report from my credit file. Oh, we can't do that. If that happens to you, he already told me you're talking to the wrong person. Just simply call and speak to somebody else, or just simply ask for a supervisor or a manager and let them know, hey, look, guys, I want to work with you guys. You guys agreed to actually make this payment for me. It's only $400, out of the $1,000. I can do that. That's great. I'm ready to settle my debt, but I'm really trying to move on with my life, and I want to work with you guys. I'm not trying to give you guys a hard time. Please work with me. I know you can delete this collection from my credit report. I've done it with other with other debt collectors. So there's no reason why you guys can't do this. So just talk to them in that sense. Okay. Can I get approved for a car loan with a 630 score, but I have a repo on my credit? You can. The thing is, it depends on where you go. If you're trying to go to a primary bank like Chase, Wells Fargo, B of A, they probably won't give it to you. But if you go to the dealership, they'll work with more lenient banks, but they'll give you a higher interest rate for sure. How can I clean my credit? Gloria, if you want, what you can do is you can use my TikTok page as free advice and kind of as a guide to help you if you're trying to do it on your own. Now, if you're like, you know what, Ricardo, I don't have the time, or I would rather have an expert do it, and you feel comfortable with my team and I working with you, you are more than welcome to book a free one-on-one consultation with my team and I. The link is on my TikTok bio. If you schedule that one-on-one consultation, we'll go over your credit report together. We'll explain what credit repair is, and if it makes sense for you to jump into our program, we'll start from there. So if you click on my picture up here, and then you click on it once more when it comes up, you'll still be able to listen to the live, but it'll take you here to my TikTok page, and here's my link. Okay. Judgment. Kyla, we just talked about judgments literally like 2 minutes ago. Let me know if you were here. So like homes have equity, cars no. Yes, exactly. So if I use Freedom Department to pay my debt, will it hurt my credit or my score? Sorry to bother. No, you're not a bother at all. I just don't understand Freedom Department. I don't know how that transaction would actually go through. So I'm not sure. Okay. What can I put in a validation letter to respond to a creditor? Are you saying a creditor, Lily, or a debt collector? Kyla, so I just talked to, I don't know how to actually work on a judgment on a credit file. I've never come across it. But usually whenever you have a judgment, that data furnisher that got the judgment against you now has the ability to, take your tax returns, levy your bank accounts, garnish your wages. You don't want to get a surprise, right? So the best recommendation I can give you is, because this is eventually going to happen, it's happened to some of our clients, where suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, like, why did I get my wages garnished? And then they receive a bunch of documents. They're like, oh, well, you have this judgment against you, right? And the best thing that you can do to prevent this from happening is to contact whoever has the judgment against you. So if it's like portfolio account recovery, for example, just let them know, hey, you know what? I'm willing to work this out with you. That way, for sure, they're not going to take your tax returns, garnish your wages and stuff like that, because you've actually developed a payment plan. This is beyond credit repair. This has to do with your legal obligation to pay something. So yeah, great question though. How accurate is experience? It's 1,000% accurate, my friend. How can I get approved for a car loan with a 630 score but have a repo on my credit? We just talked about it. If I apply for credit cards, do they look at Credit Karma more or Experian? No banker or lender will ever look at Credit Karma. Credit Karma gives you a score calculator using VantageScore 3.0. They'll take a look at two things: at your credit report, right? So Experian, Transunion, and Equifax hold your credit report. So let's say, for example, if I'm trying to apply for an American Express credit card, American Express is always going to pull out my credit report from TransUnion. So I know they're going to look at my TransUnion credit report. As far as my credit score goes, they're going to use, depending on the FICO scoring model they're using, because there's a bunch of different FICO scoring models. Depending on the FICO scoring model that they're using, they're going to pull that FICO score. Credit Karma is an app. It's not a credit scoring system. Credit Karma is not a bank. It's not a credit bureau. Credit Karma is just simply an app that gives you two scores, but they're scores that no one will ever look at when it comes to your credit worthiness. Those are scores called Vantage scores. Vantage scores 3.0. Okay. Paying off my car, does my credit score go down? Yes, it will, unfortunately. What can I do if my credit card account was closed but the interest keeps adding? Well, you would have to probably pay that balance to prevent for that balance to keep going up and up. If they can't serve you court papers, I heard for them to get a judgment against you, they will. Bankruptcy or debt consolidation? Hey, Christina, thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate it. Bankruptcy or debt consolidation? That's a very personal question. Honestly, guys, I went through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Everybody knows my story. That's why I do credit repair now. But I will never recommend a bankruptcy to anyone. But only you will know. Bankruptcy is an extremely personal decision, and you have to sit down and look at your financial picture and decide what makes the best sense for you and your family. If it's a bankruptcy, then by all means seek into that. But knowing what I know today, I would have never filed for bankruptcy. Probably I would have left it as a last resource. I mean, I was in debt $113. So yeah. So I was unemployed. I was fired from Chase for spending too much time in the hospital because my dad was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So from there, I was basically, given a choice. What should I do? Put food on the table. My wife and my son. Well, my son was 3 years old at the time. So I was like, obviously, we started buying food and diapers with our credit cards. Before we knew, we got into debt. Our cars were repossessed. So along with everything and the stress of going to the hospital, my dad was hospitalized an hour and 45 minutes from here. So we were going every day because every day he woke up was like, oh, he made it today. Let's go see him, right? So we really didn't know that what was going to happen. I got let go from the bank. I racked up debt. I qualified for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. But if I knew the stuff that I know today, I would have left that as a last resource, because a bankruptcy will leave a negative scar for the next 10 years in your life. A public record such as a Chapter 7 will last for 10 years on your credit file. The only thing that happens, all of those negative accounts stay on your credit report, if you guys didn't know. All of those negative accounts stay on your credit report. The only thing that happens is the balance will be wiped down to zero. Hey, Sandra, I appreciate the gift. Thank you so much. Yeah. So debt consolidation might be something completely different for you. With a debt consolidation company, you're paying only one consolidated. Sandra, thank you so much for the gift. You're only paying the company one amount versus paying all of your creditors individually. But your credit score will get messed up along the way. So once you finish consolidating your debt, you will have to work on repairing your credit, right? So yeah. How much were you in debt for? About $113,000. It was like $112,800 something. It was like literally on the cusp of 113. Yeah. What if a collection company failed to send me proper validation but still put it on my credit? I would do a validation of debt. A good thing you need to maintain all three credit bureaus in good condition besides paying on time. Well, there's 5 basic factors that make up your FICO score: payment history, utilization, credit age, credit mix, and hard inquiries. So if I were you, I would Google or even look it up on YouTube, how to get a good credit score. And they're going to tell you basic general information, but everything, a good credit score is built upon a good foundation, right? Of just basic principles. So that's what I would do if I were you. 113 over how long? Oh, a period of time. Oh, okay. So, I mean, I don't know. When that happened, I was, how old was I? I was like 26 or 27. I mean, I'm 33 now. So yeah, I was about 26 or 27 when that happened. So it happened, like my dad was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2014. He got in the hospital around 2014. No, in 2015, he ended up in the hospital. I went back to see my pictures on Instagram. And then from there, 2015, it was like through a 3-year period that got me there. But yeah. If Credit Karma isn't what they look at, where do I look at to see my scores, what they actually look at? Look at any FICO score, or if you really want to get fancy, look up an app called My FICO. But it's $40 a month. I don't recommend this app, but yeah, you can look into that. But debt consolidation isn't guaranteed. The lender will accept the terms, right? I don't know, my friend. That's a good question for a debt consolidation company. I don't know exactly how debt consolidation companies actually work, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. A good thing you need to maintain. I think we went over that one. What if the collection company? Hey, thanks so much, Apple user. I appreciate the first gift. How many years did it take you from where you were at to this point to have your score now? Well, considering the credit is a lifelong journey, I'm still working on it, right? But to get from where I was, I ended up with it was like a 487 FICO score after my bankruptcy to where I'm at now. It's taken me literally since that 2017 filing. As soon as I filed, I remember when I took my son to preschool, and one of the dads, hey, thanks so much, I appreciate the gift. One of the dads was an auto salesperson, and he's like, oh, I was like, I really want to buy a new car, but I went through a bankruptcy, man, and it's been tough. He's like, oh, I do credit repair. And I was like, what the hell is that? I didn't even know credit repair was a thing. And he kind of explained it. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. Like, let me do credit repair, right? Let me jump into your service. But after really the guy not knowing what he was doing or not even knowing how to explain something, and I was like, you know what, I don't even blame him, because he was the reason why I got into this industry. That kind of put curiosity in me, and I had to scratch that itch, and I was like, let me see how this works. And I took ownership of mine and my wife's credit. And you know what's the funny part? My wife got a collection. When we had our second child, my wife actually ended up getting a collection from the hospital. So our insurance didn't even cover the whole thing. And it was like 2 different collections, one for like $200 and one for $2,000. And I got rid of them while I was learning how to repair our credit. So it was really cool to go through that process. As silly as that sounds, it was cool for my wife to get a collection. Yes, I actually ended up in a different collection too. It didn't end up on my credit report, but I switched from Sprint to Verizon. And then from there, what ended up happening is I thought I paid a final bill, but there was like a $67 balance remaining. And they sent me a collection from ERC. I'm like, oh my gosh, I delete these guys all the time now, you know? But it didn't end up on my credit report. They were like, hey, if you pay it, I'm like, I know I owe it. It's just a $67 collection. I don't want $67 to bring my credit score down and me trying to prove a point, you know? So yeah, I'll just pay it. But yeah. Honestly, it's a lifelong journey. So I'm not done. My credit score will fluctuate. You know, if I buy something on a credit that I'm trying to use as an asset, my credit score is going to go down. That's okay. At the end of the day, it's how you leverage your credit and how attractive your credit report is. All right. Does it matter if you have 10 loans out you're living beyond income? Not sure if I understand the question. I pay credit card except one in 319 and my score is 519. Okay, is there like a question behind that statement, or why do all 3 bureaus have the same info but 3 report different scores? You know, ironically, that's a great question. So there can be errors on your credit file. So let me explain what errors typically look like, okay? Credit cards not reporting the right balances, whether they're open or they're still closed, will cause a fluctuation on your credit scores. Now, ironically, you would think like, oh, if I have a collection on my credit file, it's going to be reporting on all 3 credit bureaus. No, not all debt collectors and even all creditors are obligated to report to all 3 credit reporting agencies. They actually have to pay in order to report to a credit reporting agency, aka a credit bureau. So there's times where you're going to see collections or charge-offs only reporting in 1 or 2 credit bureaus as opposed to all 3. The same thing with sometimes with positive accounts. They might only report in 1 or 2. Right? So there could be a bunch of different reasons as to why you have a fluctuation on scores. You might have some more positive things on one credit report as opposed to some more negative things on other credit reports. So yeah. Debt collectors keep calling you. Jenny, if you have debt collectors keep calling you, I'll give you a way that you can actually stop them from calling you. If you write a letter to the debt collector stating, I cannot even begin to think how I can repay this debt. I have no means to repay this debt at the moment. When I'm ready, I'll contact you. Thank you for understanding, right? And then at that point, you send that letter to the debt collector via certified mail. All calls and all communication from that debt collector shall stop. If they continue to communicate with you, even if they make you a deal saying, you know what, Jenny, I hear you, but you owe us $1,000, but we can settle for like $400, right? And then we'll leave you alone. That's a potential violation of the FDCPA. Under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, you and I as consumers have the right to let them know that we want to stop all means of communication. If they actually disregard that, and that's why you would send that as proof, right? If they actually disregard that, then you have a potential claim of an FDCPA violation. You would contact an attorney. I'm not a lawyer and I can't give you legal advice. This is just general common knowledge of the FDCPA. So I hope that makes sense. How long does a communication stop for? Indefinitely until that gets sold to a different debt collector. Okay. I submitted a goodwill letter and got denied twice in regards of late payments help. So Susie, great question. Honestly, goodwill requests used to work back in the good old days. That's why they call goodwill requests, I think. They don't work as often anymore. So now it's up to you to actually challenge those late payments with the credit bureaus. Here's a letter to help you challenge late payments. Go ahead and screenshot it. And then this will actually help you when it comes to challenging those late payments, right? All right, guys. And then quick shout out. I want to do a quick shout out real quick. Absolutely, Susie. Quick shout out to Jessica, Maritza, another Jessica. We have 2 Jessicas in the house today. Erin, Sharon, Stephanie, Sandra, Carlos, Chrysia, Crystal, and Henry. Guys, thank you so much for booking those one-on-one consultations with us. For those of you guys that are wondering if my credit repair services are right for you and you want to see if my team can help you, book a free 15-minute consultation. The link is on my TikTok page. Thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate it, my friend. If you guys actually click on my picture up here and then click on it once it comes up again, it'll take you here to my TikTok page where you can still listen to the live. If you click on this link, it'll take you to my scheduling page where you can book that free 15-minute consultation. We'll go over your credit report together on the phone. We'll explain what credit repair is all about. And if it makes sense for you to actually jump into my credit repair services, you can do so at that time. I don't have any more times available for you today. I probably have about 10 more spots open for tomorrow. And if you don't get in by tomorrow, you would have to wait until Monday. So yeah, awesome. Can I refinance? Apple user, you've been gifting me so much, my friend. I appreciate you. Let me answer your question. Can I refinance my car with bad credit? I actually answered that question for you already, but let me answer it one more time. Look, this is what I suggest. If you purchased your car and you were like at a 630 FICO score and you were lower than that, I do not recommend you refinancing at that point, because even if you get approved, you're probably going to get a higher interest rate. And then at that point, your credit score is actually going to go down even more because of the new loan and everything, but you're going to pay a lot more in interest. So if I were you, I would improve my credit. Even if you went from like 530 to like a 630 FICO to like a 675 FICO score, at that point, your interest is going to be a lot better. So Sandra, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate it. By the way, guys, quick shout out. I'm going to do 3 quick shout outs. To Apple user, thank you so much. You're my top gifter. To Sandra, thank you so much. And to Doris, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are actually my top viewers right now, my top 3. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. I really appreciate it. Go follow them, guys, right now. Will settling down a payment affect your credit score? In what way? Settling down a payment? My credit went up like crazy thanks to you. Hey, Nathan, thank you so much. I appreciate the shout out. Thank you. Let me know what happened. Were you part of my, obviously I don't recognize your name from TikTok, but were you part of my credit repair services, or did you apply one of my teachings that you saw from my videos? Let me know what you did. Kitty, let me see. Thank you for sharing info with us. Absolutely. I love doing this. Monday through Friday at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. Oh my gosh, we've been here for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to end the live right now in a little bit. Will settling down a payment after affect your credit score? But what do you mean by settling down? Like, for example, are you saying, hey, look, I have a collection, and if I settle it, if I actually pay that collection, is it going to help my credit score? If that's the case, no. You binged my content. Awesome, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. How do I get a collection off from a broken lease? I'll give it to you right now. I'll give you that broken lease letter that you need. Let me give you that letter. Okay. And I'll show you how you can apply this, okay? Okay. This is a letter. Go ahead and screenshot it. For those of you guys that have collections from apartments, so that would be like a broken lease, right? Collections that have to do with cell phones, collections that have to do with auto insurance or utility bills such as electricity, cable, water, internet, whatever. This is a letter you can screenshot and send to the debt collector reporting your credit report, okay? You send this letter to the debt collector reporting on your credit report. And then from there, what you would do is 10 days later, this is called the validation of debt letter. And then 10 days later, you're gonna send this letter to the credit bureaus. Okay. Awesome. What credit score should your refinance be done if it was in the mid 500s at the time? Honestly, man, like even at a 575, you're gonna get better rate. But if I were truly like, oh, this is gonna give you like the best from where you're at right now, at least a 675 FICO score. If you're at a 675 FICO score and you refinance, woo, that's gonna work a lot of wonders for you.